What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today it is going to be a tactics video. It's been some time since we last uploaded a tactics video, and today we have remastered and remade Klopp's 4-3-3 high pressing tactic that he uses in real life today. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp is one of the best managers in the world, in my opinion the best manager. He's known for playing what is described as heavy metal football. He expects every player to give everything, high press, do not leave anything on the pitch, and it is really fun to watch. And you know what, probably one of the most demanding managers there is out there, and you know the results he gets shows that. But let's go in to the first save, which is Borussia Dortmund. So this is Borussia Dortmund. This is the season that we've had. Before we break down the stats, guys, please leave the video a like and also hit the subscribe button, and be sure to turn on notifications. But as you can see here, we finished off in first place, beaten Bayern Munich without actually signing any players, and we've also lost Haaland. Haaland went to Manchester City. I've got the database on. I've updated the database, so you know we've got no Haaland either, and we were still able to beat Bayern. We were the second best for scoring goals, the best at conceding goals, not conceding hardly any, and also we did win the Super Cup alongside of the Bundesliga title. We were runners-up in the Pokal as well, and not a great display in the Champions League, but we did get knocked out on penalties, so it's a bit iffy with that. Marco Reus actually our top goal scorer. Rafael Herrero with 7.83. That's the highest average match rating. Marco Reus with 20 assists. Akanji with a 96% pass completion, should I say, sorry. And overall, it was a very, 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 very good season. If we go into the squad goal scorers, so we're talking sort of 33 from Royce, 17 from Zagadou, who was actually a defender, so very impressive there. 16 for Ademi, 13 for Marlon, 10 for Makoko, and 10 for Reina, and 10 for Bellingham. So overall, a fantastic season. 19 assists coming out from the fullback there, which just shows how important I've made the fullbacks in this tactic. Obviously, it's a big part of Liverpool's actual game plan in real life. Their fullbacks are arguably their most important players, probably behind the likes of Salah and Mane, obviously, but they're very important. And also up here, Marco Reus getting 20 assists. What a season he had then. He had an absolute incredible season. We go into the data hub. We're going to quickly, you know, talk about the attacking performance. Goals per game is 2.91, so you're approaching 3 goals a game with a Dortmund side, and the expected is 2.7, so we're going to round it down and we'll go with the expected. So 2.7 will go, you know, it's getting on for free at the end of the day. Shots per game sitting at 22. Shots on target ratio is low because I don't tell them to create the perfect chance. They are welcome to have pop shots here and there. Dribbles per game sitting at 15. Cross completion isn't the best, but to be honest, the fullbacks were getting assists, so to be honest, they were doing something right. So I don't really understand that stat too much. Pass completion sitting at 87%, fouls against 18. So as you can see there, a little breakdown for you guys. Scores a high number of goals per the average in the division, and we find the target with a relatively average number, or finds the target with a relatively average number of shots, which is also a very important thing to have under our belts. Moving on to defending. We've got a very impressive XG conceded per 90 minutes compared to the average teams. So as you can see here, both stats, we actually concede less than a goal a game, which is perfect, because that kind of says that if we do concede, it should only be about the 1 mark, but most of the time we don't even concede, which is very good considering we're expected to score 2 goals a game. It's just a winning tactic. It really is. And the tackle ratio is 78. The reason why that's not higher is because there are some fouls in there. The players aren't perfect. I do tell them they can get stuck in, as you'll see by the fouls per game. That's why the ratio isn't completely flawless, but there are a decent amount of clearances, an okay amount of blocks, and a decent amount of interceptions. So defensively, the tactic is very good, but you will pick up the occasional booking, I will say, because a lot of my tactics, and also in real life with Klopp, players do pick up bookings because they play at such a high pace, fast-paced system, so they are bound to make the occasional mistake when going in for a challenge at the end of the day. That's just a fact. That's just how it is. And that is going to be the Dortmund save pretty much broke down. In the Liverpool save, we are actually going to go and watch a little bit of the 2D gameplay, so we can see how the tactic performs in the game, and we can see how it moves and things like that. And for me, that's going to be, I got recommended this by a viewer, and I do appreciate anyone that comments anything that I'm not showing that they do want to see, because then I build the video for you guys that you want to see. So we are going to see how the players press, how they mold together, and it's going to be a real interesting breakdown. So let's hop in to the Liverpool save. So before we get into Liverpool save, guys, if you are enjoying the video so far, please leave the video a like, drop a comment below as well of any other managers you possibly would want me to try and recreate their tactics, and please do hit the subscribe button as well. It means a lot, it helps the channel grow, and also you can get alerted by turning on the notification bell for when I upload, do a community post or live stream. But let's get into the Liverpool save. So, as you can see here, a very dominant season, 105 points, 103 goal difference, best at scoring, best at conceding, didn't get a single red card, Salah nearly approaching 50 goals, highest match rating from Salah as well, Trent with 24 assists, pass completion, Konate wins that with 97%, Trent actually winning the most player of the match awards, proving how vulnerable, how elite and how important the fullbacks are in this tactic. Obviously our fullback in Dortmund done very well, and also Trent's come along and done exactly the same on this save. The fullbacks are a big part of this. So one thing I'm going to say now is the better quality you have at fullbacks, the more you're going to see that they do. This tactic can be played with a middle of the table team, but obviously it is very demanding on the players, and also the better quality, the better results. That's pretty much common sense, but I do like to say these things. So we won the Premier League, we won the FA Cup, we won the Carabao, so we won the treble. We were runners-up in the Champions League, unfortunately just slipping up to Manchester City there, which isn't great because we could have won the quad in the first season. Again, no transfers were made. Nunes isn't at Liverpool on this database just yet, so we didn't have him either. And overall, I think that is a fantastic season. I mean, the first season, one with Dortmund, one with Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool is a favourite to win it anyway. But the reason, again, I will clarify, because I know a couple of people have said, why do I use top teams? When I recreate a tactic based off a manager, I use the teams that they've recently managed. When it's my tactic that I've made, my philosophy, my game style, I will test it with smaller teams to show how it does work. But I genuinely believe and have full confidence this will be fine and do very well with any team that you use it with. But let's go into a little bit of the data hub then. So this is where it gets interesting. Team attacking, we're actually expected to score 3 goals a game now, not rounding it up. 3 goals we're expected to score a game, which is honestly incredible. 3 goals is very difficult to score, sometimes across 2 games, depending on what team you've got. So in 1 game, that is very good. Shots per game sitting at 23. We've got the cross completion, and the shot ratio is going to be low, as I mentioned before. Pass completion is actually very high here, nearly approaching 90%. Scores a high number of goals compared to the average, which is obviously pretty much common sense after seeing this. And you know what? This tactic isn't flawless tiki-taka, but as you're going to see in the 2D breakdown, the passing is there and the options are there, and there's so much going on, and the players work really well with each other. Going on to the defending, even better here. We actually conceded 0.42 a game, expected is 0.62. So just to clarify with you guys, we're expected to score 3 goals and concede 1. Now you do the maths. To me that sounds like 3 points most games, and it was. And we've got a tackle win ratio of 80%, clearances sitting at 31, fouls slightly higher. Obviously I did say the fouls are going to be quite high just because of Klopp's game style is so aggressive, so fast paced. As soon as a player gets the ball, he wants the players to be biting at the ankles like a Jack Russell, really just getting stuck in. And that is why sometimes players will go in a little too aggressive and pick up a booking. That's just how it is. So that is a defending done then. Is there anything else we want to do? So have a quick look at shooting for this one as well. As you can see here, we manage more shots than the average, and we have a lot more clinical shots as well. So we're top for aggressive shooting and clinical shooting, which means obviously that one, we do have a lot of shots, but it doesn't mean they're all off target. A lot of the shots are clinical, and again, this is a mixture of how the tactic is set up, but also the quality you have up top. The better strikers you have, the better wingers you have, the better this will be at the end of the day. But that is going to be that side of things done. What I'm going to include in this episode, as I've mentioned, is going to be a little sample of some 2D gameplay, but we can really watch how this tactic breaks down in an actual game. So this is going to be the game we're going to be watching. We are going to be watching the 5-0 win against Barcelona, because I've gone through a few of the games. I want to show you a game where we score, and also where you can see us in the areas of the pitch and how we win the ball back. So let's get into this. So as you can see, Roberto has it there. Jones wins it on. Henderson here. This is a great run in behind here from Jota. He does go on and unfortunately miss. But this isn't the bit I really want to talk about. I'm going to show you the key areas of which I do want to break down, as you will see a goal come in relatively soon, which is going to be a corner. So nothing too much to talk about there. But obviously, this is purely down to the quality we have at fullback. We have Trent, we do have Robertson as well. So there's nothing too special about that goal, completely about the tactic. But we are going to be seeing stuff which is very special about this tactic, which I will point out so you guys know what I'm on about. So look here, Luis Diaz in this spot here, he's getting pressed a lot. But, you know, you've got number 20, number 21 coming in on him. There's this midfield is there's always an option, and that is because I tell the two wide players pretty much in the midfield that they can go out, but they can drift out a little bit. You don't have to stay centralised. So there's always an option. So Diaz there plays it back into Gomez, the man there actually, but then into Virgil. Number 6 drop, you know, it's number 6 drop backs, get the ball into Thiago, plays a beautiful ball over to Diaz, and look, we lost the ball here. PK is going to play this ball into Griezmann. Now I want you to watch this guy here, number 12. Look at him. On him instantly, forces him again, right into him again, and he has to go backwards because there's nothing on. This is one thing this tactic is very good at. A lot of things, but this is the main thing, is the fact as soon as a player gets the ball, we've got players closing in and they forces them into rushing the decision. And sometimes, yes, it can get played out of, but very rarely do they get completely through without losing the ball at least once, which is then, it's your responsibility to go and convert their error. But here you can see here, so Des with the ball, we've got number 14 pressing on him. As you can see here, Ansu Fati's already read this and he started to press number 10. And as you can see here, he's going to press it on him. Number 10 here, he's forced to make a decision because 10's right close to 2. This is the only guy here who's in a little bit of space. And he actually tries to take him on, and Trent is the man actually who wins the ball back. And as you can see here, Canate, Thiago always creating an option, Canate back to Becker. And there's always a player that is a comfortable pass, is what I'll say. Gomez, Jones just drops in a little bit, gets the ball in, and plays a long ball. Obviously, them diagonal balls is going to be something that you will see in this team because the passing directness isn't on short, so you will see passing like that, and it works very well, especially with good fullbacks with good passing. Mane there with a chance, unfortunately, right out to Stegen, and Dest is able to clear. We then have another set piece. A couple of these goals in this game are from set pieces, and there wasn't, I didn't set up anything too special for set pieces. It is just purely the fact that we do have brilliant defensive players, and you know, in terms of fullbacks that can float balls in, etc. But this is another passage of play. PK into Araujo, into Sergio. Here we go here. So number 10, if you first break down this guy, number 20 instantly darted towards Sergio. So Sergio has had to pass it into Araujo in a dangerous area now because he's got number 10 that's already started to come towards him. And he presses that, and look at that, forced into kicking the ball away because there's no time on the ball. We're instantly there in their face, and he's forced into making an error. Canate now into Virgil. Takes his time with it. Overall, it's a bit overhit, but Diaz does recover this. He cops it back, and here we go. Right into Gomez here, who actually drops back to receive the ball. Very smart. Thiago creating an option. Canate in loads of space. And we didn't play it here on this occasion, but when number 5 was here, he could have played it over here. Loads and loads of space, because there is a lot of width in this formation as well. But we don't decide to do that. Henderson gets the ball, plays it into Mane, and this is a wonderful goal. He sort of cuts through and just tucks it past to Stegen. So a very, very good goal there. But I hope you guys are sort of seeing what I'm trying to talk about in terms of how the tactic does line up, because it does a lot of things very well. It really does. And it's a great tactic to be using. It really is, guys. I'm not just saying that because it's my video. But hopefully I can sort of show you some more. Obviously, this is going to be a set piece, which does actually go over. I'm not going to talk too much on the set pieces because I don't purposely do anything from them that is too special. There's a set piece in there again. Mane gets the ball out wide. Number 4 makes an option on the edge. Virgil decides to pass it back into Canate. There's width over here. Does he use it? He passes it to Henderson, and then he uses the wide man. Trent actually hits it and scores. And that is why width is so important, because obviously if that wasn't an option on the wing and we were too narrow, there'd be nowhere to go to. It would be back, wouldn't it? Or put a ball in the box, which is going to be useless. But we eventually find the width and we get rewarded for it. And it's as simple as that, guys. It really is as simple as that. And this is how the formation looks actually in game. So obviously you got your goalkeeper, you got your 4 here, and this is where I'm going to break it down for you guys and go in a lot of detail. So obviously we've got Thiago here, who's actually the more deeper midfield player. This guy shouldn't be caught forward too much. He doesn't go forward a lot, and also is quite centralised. He might drift off occasionally, but the right hand side and the left hand side players in Jones and Henderson, for example, in this game, actually do drift out into sort of these areas, hence why there's always a width, like there's always a pass on, even if it's out on the wing. They do drift, only when the team has the ball though. When they have the ball, I don't want them to be trying to go on runs on this sort of area. When the team has the ball, they can go wide to find options and get in space for people, because at the end of the day, we play such a high press and work so hard. We don't want to lose the ball the second we get it back, because our players will be knackered. But here we go then. So Thiago into Konate. Always a pass on with Henderson there. And again, Trent's in acres of space. Cuts it back into Konate. Number 6 is there if he needs him. He actually decided to go long to Mane, which didn't work. But so Des wins it back. And now there's a lot of space going on here, but number 20 on him like nothing, right in his face. Number 10 in there again, and Jones, pressure on 21, and that pass there, I'm not going to replay it, but the pressure that number 20 put onto him was that intense. The Barcelona player had to hit it long, and Trent on this occasion is tall enough and physical enough to win the ball in the air and regain possession. And here comes Mane with the ball through into Jota, a little bit overhit, but Jota here, I think that's Jota, yeah, he's an absolute animal pressing on that front line. He wants to win the ball back every time, and he does there. Catches in lacking, Jota goes through, and unfortunately it's not a great finish, but it's more the build-up that's impressive. That is the part which I wanted to talk to you guys about. And as you see here, we've got a throw in here with Gomez into Jones. Just takes his time with it. On the edge, there's so many options. 14 creating an option here. Look at the space. Loads of space there. He doesn't decide to use him. Gomez with the ball here. No option here. But he plays it into the box. Henderson picks it up on the edge. And there should be... Yeah, there we go. Look at Trent there. Look at Trent there. And he sees him. That's the width what I'm on about. Trent, ball in the box, and unfortunately we're just not tall enough to win the ball back. But we're so in their face. I don't know if you've noticed it. Whenever we lose the ball, we're right at them, and they're being forced into these long passes, and they're not doing anything with them. And that is why you get the ball back and you create so many chances, because you have the ball so much and you win it back in dangerous areas. Henderson here plays a wonderful ball into Trent. Again, players will get into the box of this. Even the box to box will get in there when needed, if there's a good option on. Pedri, and here you go, look at this. The options that is just, there's nowhere to go. We had like 3 players all in these areas, and Ter Stegen got at his feet. All he could do was go long, and they're not pushed up enough because they were obviously a bit too defensive. And Trent wins it back into Henderson, takes his time with it into Jones, ball over the top into Mane, takes his time with it, cuts it back here actually, ball across into Jones, and just like that, that is going to be 4-0 against Barcelona, a game which we dominated the entire leg. 7-2 over 2 ties. So very good there. But I hope you guys are getting sort of like an explanation of how this does sort of shape up in game. And I'm glad that I'm doing this now, because it is a very good idea. Again on the wing, Henderson. Trent's always there for an option. He's got an option in Thiago here. Loads of space for this guy here. But he plays it into Virgil, Virgil does get up a little bit higher than Konate, because he does have a little bit more license to roam. One defender's sort of on cover, so that if they do win the ball back, he can, if he has to, take one for the team. I'm just being honest, that's how it's set up for. But Konate into Virgil, space here for Jones, loads of options here, plays it through to Diaz actually, who goes through with it, and it's right at the goalkeeper. But you can see here how the chances are created. It's created through a mixture of winning the ball back, a mixture of using width. That's a real big part of this, is using the width in the team. It's a real big part. Mane into Henderson, ball over the top. It's a little bit overhit from Ter Stegen, but I don't know why he kicked that, because he did have time to find a better pass, but Diaz wins it, gets it and tucks it in, and that is going to be the 5 goals. So I hope you guys did like that. If you guys want to see more of that, you want to see every tactics video, do leave a comment and let me know, because I'm happy to include it from now on, because I quite like seeing it as well. But now we're getting into the real big part of this, and we're going to go ahead and break down the tactic. Now, do follow along. You can do this obviously on the screen beside you, but if you would just rather an easier option, watch the video. If you want to watch the video, but instead of copying it click for click, simply click the download link in the description. That's going to be a link directly to the tactic, and from there you can simply download it, and you can just go onto this and go load, and it will be in your downloads, and it will instantly translate. But let's go into this and break down the entire tactic. Just quickly, if you guys are still watching at this point, I do appreciate it. Drop a like on the video, be sure to subscribe, and let's break down this tactic. So then, let's break down the actual tactic first, shall we? So that is going to be the mentality is going to be set to attacking. In possession, we've got fairly wide, pass into space, play out of defence with overlap on the left and the right. Pass and directness is on standard, tempo is on higher, run at defence is selected, and low crosses. Pretty basic, to be honest. Nothing selected on this area just because it wasn't really needed, and no specific instructions were required, to be honest. Going into transition, we've got counter press, counter attack, distribute quickly, distribute to the fullbacks and to the centre backs, and also take short goal kicks. Out of possession, we've got the offside trap selected. Obviously Liverpool are well known for that in real life. A high line of engagement and a high defensive line. Again, Liverpool are known for playing that high line. They always have been. Use tighter marking is not selected. Trigger press is on more often, not to the highest, but is definitely on more often. Prevent short goalkeeper distribution and get stuck in. And obviously, I don't know if I did mention it, but the tempo's on higher and the passing directness is on standard. Because again, this is not a tiki-taka formation. This is more, it's not direct, but you will see the occasional long ball get played. So the last key bits of information you guys really need are the player roles, right? So we have got sweeper keeper on the support role. I do not put him on attack because it's not needed. It's not needed. He doesn't need to be coming out of his box ridiculously loads, and you don't want him to be too aggressive. Trust me, the support role is more than enough. It really is. Moving on to the right-hand side, which is the right back. The wing back on the automatic role, meaning that they do defend, but they also attack. The perfect balance, in my opinion. We've got them on the trigger press on more often, mark tighter, sit narrower, get further forward, run wide with the ball, shorter passing, cross from byline, centre, and take more risks. Now, the reason why we have him on short passing is just so he doesn't constantly lump the ball up. He does still, even with short passing, play the diagonal ball. So don't think that they're not going to cross the ball or anything like that. As you can see, Trent got most assists this season. So at the end of the day, this is definitely working. So make sure you do copy these instructions, guys, because this is really good. Moving on to the left-hand side of the left back, it's the same. So I'm going to show you now. It's exactly the same. We've got him on trigger press on more often, mark tighter, get further forward, sit narrower, run wide with the ball, shorter passing, cross from deep, take more risks, and aim at the centre. Now, the reason why also, I'm going to say, we had the low selection on, like the low cross type, is because we don't have the tallest strikers in the team, especially at Liverpool. So I mean, if they're in low and they're in the box and the fullbacks also do sort of come inside occasionally, then you've got a good chance of getting the ball to someone's feet. And if they're a good finisher, they're going to take a chance at the end of the day. That's just how it is, that's football. Moving on to the right-hand side centre-back, who is just a central defender on the cover role. This is more of the defensive one of the two centre-halves. You won't see this guy go up the pitch too often unless you literally tell him to. He's on balanced on the press, tackle harder is on, shorter passing, and take fewer risks. Hence why, when we were watching the 2D, he was the man that was always right at the back. He is sort of your last option, the last bit of security. Moving on then to the left-hand side centre-back, which is the more expansive, the ball player, so put your more confident centre-back on this one, the one which you think has got a bit of potential to go forward at the end of the day. And that is trigger press on balance, tackle harder, shorter passing, and dribble more, just meaning that he will dribble with the ball. He does progress up the pitch. Quite common sense. That is the back line done then. Moving on to what, in my opinion, is arguably the most important player in the team, because he moulds the whole team together, is the ball-winning midfielder role on defend. Now, this guy doesn't really get to do much other than defend. To be honest with you guys, he doesn't really get to go up the pitch. He, again, is sort of like, this guy can even bail out the centre-back that pushes up. So if you've got a player that, maybe isn't the most sort of technically great going forward, like a Jordan Henderson, but he's a great leader, great sort of, central defensive midfielder, this is the position for you. Trigger press is on balanced, shorter passing, nothing else is selected out of my control. That is very simple, but trust me, you need a player in this team that does the basic things at the end of the day. That's what you need. Moving on then to what is going to be the box-to-box, which is, again, a very important position in the team, because this guy will defend, but also he does help the attack, and this attack has got a lot of firepower, but you still need the occasional option in the box. So this guy will get into the box, and obviously we do put the ball in the box quite a lot with this tactic, so having a box-to-box midfielder does pay off. As you can see, I believe, in the Barcelona game, where Curtis Jones got in the box and scored. So it does work. trigger press is on balanced, mark tighter selected, stay wider. We've got standard pass and directness, and nothing else is selected. Nice and easy for you guys, nothing too much to copy. Again, it's very important to have stay wider on this, especially on the right hand side, because pretty much he does that when the team has the ball. So when the team has the ball, he will stay wide, because, you know, we don't want the midfield to be congested and too narrow, so he will find himself in wide areas. But when he's got the ball, I don't tell him to run wide, because that's when you're going to get caught out a lot. Moving on to by far the most attacking midfielder in the team is going to be a central midfielder on the attack duty. Balanced on the trigger press, get further forward, sorry, is on. As I said, he is by far the most attacking. He will get back occasionally, but to be honest, this guy more plays a bit like a cam, to be honest with you. That is what you can expect. So play your most technically gifted midfielder that is probably got sort of, you know, the best attacking stats in terms of vision, passing, maybe even a shot on him, and you will find success using this. We've got dribble more selected, take more risks, because again, I want him to be taking risks, because we don't play an actual cam, we don't even play a Metzala, so this guy is by far the most creative midfielder we've got. He needs to be taking risks and be dribbling and be getting in their face. So that is why get further forward is also on. Moving on to the right hand side, the inverted, or the inside forward, not inverted, inside forward on the attack role. We've got him on trigger press, balanced, mark tighter, tackle harder, get further forward, stay wider, cut inside, shoot more often, standard with the pass and directness, and that is going to be it for that position. And I'm going to break this down now. I'm not just going to dish out a load of words at you. The reason why you want him to get further forward, you want him to stay wide, because, you know, it is always width then. There's always width. And you want him to cut inside, because he does pick up a lot of goals as well at the end of the day. As you can see here, in this tactic, the wingers are sort of your bread and butter for goals. We've got a false nine. Klopp's famous style is to have a striker in more of a support role, like your Firmino, who's more known for sort of assisting the wingers. So your striker typically won't be getting top goal scorer, it will be one of your wingers. So my advice would be to make sure your wingers are good at finishing, because they're the ones that are probably going to get majority of the shots. Moving on to the left-hand side is exactly the same, so we're not going to talk too much about it, but we've got the mark tighter, the tackle harder, get further forward, stay wider, should be selected. I'll make sure I update that for you guys in the save file. Cut inside, standard with the directness, and also shoot more often should be on as well, and shoot more often is on as well. And that is going to be the instructions for the wingers. Moving on to the last man in the tactic. Again, it is a very, very important player. This guy will be the guy who gets a lot of assists. He'll be the guy which, you know, he is not directly on hold up, but he will hold up the ball in many aspects of the game. He will sort of be the highest point of the pitch. You know, that's the players get the ball to, who will then get it to a winger, and hopefully they'll put the ball in the net. We've got him on the trigger press on balanced, tackle harder, standard with the directness. We do not tell him to shoot more or less often. I found this is a perfect balance. If you tell him to shoot more often, you're not going to get as many balls through to your wingers. If you tell him to shoot less often, he has zero confidence and does not shoot at all, which is an issue. But that is going to be the entire tactic broke down right to the bottom. Everything explained. Obviously this video is a little bit longer now, because we have broke down a 2D sort of actual live gameplay of the tactic, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, because you guys seem to love my tactic videos. The link to the tactic is always in the description, so if you can't be bothered to copy over everything click for click, simply download it and apply it. But that is going to be it for today, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like on the video, drop a comment below as well, and please do subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. And also, if you do want to get notified for when I upload, post a community post, go live, because we are live streaming now, guys. So anyone watching this, please do come by a live stream, because it's been going really well recently. So I do appreciate all the support, and that's going to be everything for today, guys. I'll see you in the next one.